Cryptid Wilderness Research. My name is Daniel Becker, coming to you from Anchorage, Alaska. Joining me, as always, Mr. Matt Slater from Quincy, Washington.
Hello.
Not with us again tonight, our co-host from Anchorage, Alaska, also Paul Ayot. And he's not going to be with us this evening. He's feeling a bit under the weather, and we wish him the best. Matt, how are things in Washington State?
The last few days, it's been cold and rainy and gray outside, but you can tell that spring is on its way. I know up there in Anchorage, it's been snowing. You're just about to the snowfall record, but you're about to escape that and head down to Arkansas. And a lot of activity getting ready to go down there. You want to expand on that for our subscribers?
Absolutely. I've been really looking forward to this trip for a long time. So headed down to Arkansas to link up with our research partners down there, William Lunsford and Stephen Hill. We're also going to be in contact with Robin Haynes and, of course, Duke Sullivan. And just so much stuff we have ready to go down there. Number one is, as everyone knows, on April 8th is the Eclipse.
Yeah.
And the part of Arkansas we're going to be in is right in that Eclipse zone, that corridor that goes up through Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. So this is presenting a very unique opportunity for us as Bigfoot researchers and cryptid researchers to actually get out in our research area during the eclipse time. So barring a change in plans and location, that's what our plan is to get out in that research area during the eclipse and get our gear ready and to gauge the activity that takes place before, during, and after that eclipse. And this is just a unique window that we have for this type of research, so we're going to take advantage of it.
Absolutely, yeah. That's going to be really interesting. And you're planning on at least trying to do field reports for the channel. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Thanks for reminding me. We are going to start field report segments since we're going to be doing so much down there with. Let's see, we've got the Eclipse stuff going on. We've got studio podcasts set down there. Just so much. We're going to be headed up to the Monster Mart. For those of you in that tri-state area, I've always wanted to say that, the tri-state area of Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas. If you're interested in cryptids, interested in Sasquatch, highly encourage you to take a drive up to the Monster Mart in Falca, Arkansas. It's 104 Highway 71 in Falca, Arkansas. It's just a really cool place that you can see some interesting exhibits and get a lot of memorabilia and shirts and little trinkets and stuff like that. It's a really cool place, and a lot of people who are interested in cryptids and passing through that area make that a stop along their way. I've been in there a couple of times, but going to be going there a couple more times on this trip.
Nice.
Also, what we have planned down there this time is William and Stephen and I are going to be attending that Keith Crabtree Falk Monster Campout. And for those of you familiar with the movie The Legend of Boggy Creek, which came out in 1972, and actually I just saw this movie on not that long ago, maybe last year. And so when I was down there with doing research with William and Stephen, that's when I got introduced to that movie. And it is interesting. And that movie, I would say, is one of the things that took that Falk monster from being a regionally known thing to a nationally known thing, and even a world known thing. As that movie's made its way through its phases. So the Keith Crabtree Falk Monster Campout, which is going on April 12th through the 14th, and that's at Alex Smith County Park in Doddridge, Arkansas. I'm also going to try to get Keith. Keith played the monster in that movie, and I'm also going to try to get him for a short interview if I can, and be taking a lot of video down there and talking to people. And the best thing about these types of events, just like the conferences, is networking.
Yeah,
That's the best part. It's meeting these
absolutely.
people, hearing their experiences, and making contacts. Contacts. There's a saying, you're only one contact away from your dream. So contacts are very important. We're really looking forward to it. So our back to the Eclipse again. Our plan is to get out in our research area during that eclipse, measure and gauge activity before, during, and after this solar phenomenon, and it's going to be a really great experience. We're really looking forward to seeing how these atmospheric changes affect the activity in these areas. And what I can tell you about our research area there is I call it the Amazon of America. These woods are so thick that you could literally step right in there and disappear. I mean, you could go 5 feet in there and you vanish.
Yeah.
And you know, the place I've in other podcasts I've mentioned this, that it's charged. When you go in our research area, you just feel it. And the first time I went in there, I felt it's a very special place, and there's a lot of activity there. We've got hidden cameras set up. We've got game cameras, hidden cameras, gifting sites, you name it. We've even got a mirror set up um, against a tree, in the middle of the woods, and we've or my partners have found that mirror taken and thrown, 50 feet,
Wow.
and I think I actually had you on the phone or on FaceTime with us once when we were going through there.
Yeah,
I
you
can't,
did.
yeah, I can't
It was
remember.
very dense.
Yeah, I can't remember if I showed you the mirror or not, but there's a lot of cryptids back there. I know there's definitely dogmen back there, and I was somebody who didn't really believe in the dogman phenomenon
Yeah.
until I started talking to more people down in Arkansas, hearing the stories, and seeing some of the pictures that the game cams and the hidden cams are picking up. Some of these pictures, obviously you got the blob squatches, as we
Right.
call them, but some of those pictures, you just look at them and you go, I don't know what that is,
Yeah.
but some of them look like the types of physical characteristics that people have attributed to dogmen. So I wasn't really buying into the whole dogman stuff, but once I went to our research area and started
Yeah.
talking to William and Stephen and others, now I'm bought in on it.
Yeah. You're on board.
Yep, I'm on board. Sorry, I just hit you with a lot of information there, but
Yeah.
but kind of jumping all over the place.
Yeah. So, out there in your research area, has anything else happened out there? Anything even more strange? Perhaps, all your equipment still works and everything, right? I've seen you've gotten, uh, a lot of video and, stuff, personal electronic stuff, but, has anything ever happened with your, like, for example, with your drones you've tried to fly out there? I know you've got at least two drones with 4 batteries.
Actually, yeah. We have two DJI drones. And for those of you who may know something about drones, DJI is a very good, reputable constructor of drones and different camera equipment. So the last time that I was down there, I brought both of the drones. And, I'd always heard stories from other researchers about electronics failing, cameras failing, audio equipment failing when they get into these areas, and and I'd always heard the stories. So many people had the stories that you obviously couldn't discount every single one of them. Some of
Yeah.
them may have been mechanical failures, etc. But all of them, no. Um,
Right. Yeah.
so I actually experienced it for the first time on our last research trip down there. We were out in our research area, which we've called Ground Zero. we were out there in our research area. I sent up drone one and got out a little ways. I was able to snap a few pictures, but once I started recording, it immediately started causing problems. And I recorded several segments and brought the drone back, and all the stuff that I had recorded wasn't on there.
Wow.
It was not on there at all. And I was just like, wow, that's maybe there's something wrong with this drone, or something wrong with the connection. I managed to get some still photos that I took, but the video wouldn't work. And then so I sent that drone up again a second time after physically inspecting it, and tried it again. Sent it out almost about a half a mile, and again tried videoing, and it appeared like it was recording normally. And I took some still photos, and when I brought the drone back again, the recordings weren't taking, and then even some of the still photos weren't taking.
Wow.
And they weren't reflected on the storage device. So I thought, well, this drone something must be wrong with it. So I took out the next drone, which is actually a model higher than that drone.
Yeah.
And so I sent that drone up over the same areas, and again had difficulty with the video recording and the picture taking. I would literally go up there, go out, snap pictures, take video, come back, and it's not there. And the drones weren't losing power, but they were losing their ability to effectively record and snap those pictures. And I mean, if one drone fails, and we weren't around any power lines or anything like that, one drone fails, but two drones failing, highly unlikely.
Very unlikely.
Yeah, and so I believe, as do my partners believe, and when I say partners, I'm talking about you and Paul too, that this is a real phenomenon. And we actually, William Stephen and I actually have coined a term for it now. So we call it cryptid electronic interference, or CEI for short. Yeah. So we figured, well, this is happening to everybody, or not everybody, but it's happened to so many people, and it's now happened to us. We need a term for this, that we can use to describe it. So cryptid electronic interference is our term for it. So both of the drones, very expensive drones, I might add. These weren't these weren't cheap drones. They were both over $1,000.
Yeah. One of them's a Mavic 2, and the other one's a Mavic 3.
And they just both failed over our research area to document. Like I said, we were able to get a few shots and a little tiny bit of video, but a majority of the video we attempted to record over the research areas were just not there. They were just gone. Gone. The indicators on the controls said that it was actively recording. So I thought, oh, great. Especially when the second drone went up, and okay, we're recording, we're good. And then we get back and we're going over the records and the SD card, and it's just not there.
There's nothing there. And when I lived up there in Alaska, I went out with you a couple times to fly the drones, and just for everybody watching the video and stuff like that, what you're doing. I've seen you fly and record with those drones up in Alaska dozens of times. So it's not like it's a mistake or anything.
Yeah, that was we went back to William's house just shaking our heads, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And I'm examining these drones, trying to figure out if there's anything mechanically wrong with them, but there was nothing wrong with them. They hadn't crashed or anything like that. Yeah. And so having eliminated mechanical failures, what I'm left with is CEI, cryptid electronic interference, and that's the first time I've ever experienced it. So also, one of the things we did, I can't remember if it was on this trip because I've been down there several times, obviously.
Yeah.
What we like to do is we like to take grid pictures. Um, so one of our times in Ground Zero, we were taking, we were actually headed out of the woods, and we decided, hey, if something's watching us, it's watching us from the tree line.
Yeah.
So we, turned around and immediately just started taking random shots of the tree line. Boom, 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 boom. And then once we got back up to the road, to the logging road there, we started, we took some time and examined the pictures, and we're able to zoom in. We're looking, searching the foliage for any anomalies, and examining those anomalies. So we actually had one photo where it appears like you can see a Sasquatch looking at us from the tree line. So immediately we took that photograph while we're in the field. We took that photograph, sent it to a professional photographer in Anchorage who um, was able to filter it and examine it further in real time while we're in the field. This a photography place called Ace 49 Photography. While we're in the field, apply filters to it and get back to us and say, hey, whatever's there and that you guys are seeing is still there. We're filtering around it, and they were actually able to highlight some of that more outline where you can make out a body, body structure,
Yeah.
as well as the face. The face, I'll be honest with you, and maybe we can get that picture up on here. I'm not sure if we can or not.
Yeah, we can try.
Yeah. The face looks like, just going to be honest with you, it looks like a gorilla. That's what the face reminds me of, is a
Wow.
gorilla. And it was getting a little bit of attention in the Bigfoot community, and even L.A. Marzulli called us and asked if he could use that at one of the conferences that he was at one of his pictures. And obviously, it's a huge honor, when a known author and lecturer and filmmaker requests to use one of your photos. And William and Stephen have used it on various podcasts and stuff, to get it out there and talk about it. It is actually a very, very interesting picture. And there are other people who've taken that picture and highlighted closer in on it. But also around that area where the picture was taken. Also, I should jump back. So after that, William and Stephen had to go back to that location and make sure that it wasn't a tree, because we got to, go through our process of elimination. Because one of the things with myself and William and Stephen and you and Paul and Robin and Duke, we don't think that everything that we don't look at something just think automatically, oh, that's a Sasquatch. We have to go through our process of elimination and try to do image interpretation, see what's in that area. So I also want to add that around that area where we did get that photo was a lot of tracks. And again, in that area, Ground Zero, I call it the Amazon of America, but I also call it Track City. There are a lot of tracks out there.
That's awesome. So that's where you're going to be going in a few days, and there's going to be field reports, studio podcast done down there, all for the Eclipse. And you can get that information and get that footage from the Eclipse before, during, and after. That's going to be excellent. I think it's going to put together a lot of great shows.
Yeah, we're going to do Eclipse coverage. We're going to do Monster Mark coverage. We're going to do Keith Crabtree Fouke Monster Campout coverage. We're going to do field reports. We're going to have a full, excuse me, a full schedule of activity. And I'm going to try to snag some people at this camp out and at the Monster Mart and do some field interviews as well, especially if I meet somebody who has an interesting story or interesting account. We want to make sure we get those documented. We may even end up inviting some people on the show. But And as far as Washington State goes and Alaska, um, I'm guessing it's the weather where you're at hasn't quite gotten to a point where you can get out there yet.
Yeah, not quite yet. The higher elevations still have snow coming down, and it's still quite cold for Washington, especially up in the mountains on the forest roads and up in the trees.
Right. So yeah, here we've still got snow on the ground, and uh, despite Anchorage people thinking they were out of the woods when it came to winter, surprise, not yet. Sorry, my camera's here falling a little bit. I apologize.
Yeah,
Um, so up here, it's going to be at least until May or June before the snows have cleared enough to where I can get out there and get Paul and um, maybe take the four wheelers out. But and also, unfortunately, at this time of year, the bears are waking up,
yeah,
and nobody knows better about a bear encounter than you and me.
definitely. Yeah,
Remembering that. Yeah.
that was one time, and that was enough.
Why don't
That's
you
enough.
tell? Why don't you tell everybody that story real quick?
Well, we were hiking at uh, this place called Portage, Alaska, and we were on the Blue Ice Trail, headed up into a glacial bowl. It's a short trail; it's only about a mile. And while we were on our way back down, we were talking. Dan and I were, and you try and make a lot of noise, try and be loud, like you're supposed to do when you're out there in the trees. It's a good idea, but excuse me. Dan kept hearing something off the side of the trail behind us, and we got down closer to the parking lot, and I made the offhand comment, and I was like, "Well, that'd be interesting if it was a bear." And that was right as Dan turned around to look back at the sound again, and the next thing I hear is, "It is a bear." And I was like, "What? No, it's not." And he's like, "No, it's a bear." And he turned around, and yeah, sure enough, probably about 40, 50 feet from us, there was a black bear came out of the trees and been stalking us all the way down the trail.
Yeah, and then it got in the trail and
Yep.
it got closer to us. And thankfully, you and I were both armed.
Yes.
So I lowered the barrel of the shotgun right at its face, and we're at a standoff. We're at a stalemate. It's not moving, and we're not moving,
Right.
and we're doing all the yelling and everything they tell you to do, and it's not going no place.
No, it's
And
not. It actually raised its heckles a little bit and started huffing at us.
yeah, and so I know I had already made the decision. I'm sure you did too. That if that bear took another step forward, that bear was going to bear heaven.
Yeah, it was going to be hamburger.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that experience, and I when I think back on it now, and then we started backing up because we figured, there's somebody's got to move, and when I think back at it now, I'm thinking, oh, maybe we shouldn't have been the ones to back up. That probably put us at greater danger,
Probably.
but and it was not too far away from the trailhead because I remember people were coming up the trail
Yeah, there were people behind us coming up the trail.
and I said, hey, there's a bear up there, and then they turn around and headed back. Um, but yeah, that I care not to have that experience again. Um, so yeah, probably about May or June is when Paul and I will finally get out up here and be able to do some stuff up here.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I did meet somebody recently, and I'm going to try to get him on the show, who actually saw a Sasquatch from an airplane flying out of Dillingham. And a couple weeks ago on our podcast, Paul actually mentioned stories of hearing stories about this
Yeah.
from coming out of that same village.
Yeah, he
And so
did.
he actually mentioned that, well, I just happened by accident to meet somebody who said that that actually happened to them. So we're going to try to get him on to tell his story.
That would be excellent.
Yeah. All right, lots of stuff coming up. Starting, actually, I'm leaving tomorrow, heading down there, and so we're gonna, right out of the gate, we're gonna start our research hitting the woods. So we'll, as we go along throughout the next 10 to 14 days, we're gonna be posting a lot of field reports, a lot of video clips, as many interviews as we can. So again, we're gonna get Robin involved, going to get Duke, Steve, and William, hopefully Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and just use this as a time of good research during that eclipse. And like I said, gauging and measuring the effect of the eclipse on the research area and the activity that takes place before, during, and after.
It's going to be excellent.
Yeah,
it's going to be excellent.
So once again, that Keith Crabtree Falk Monster Campout, April 12th through the 14th at Alex Smith County Park in Doddridge, Arkansas. If you're in those areas, highly recommend that you come by, say hi, and enjoy that time of fellowship together. It's always good to get together with people who are like-minded and want to share experiences, and just wonderful people down there. Also stop by that Monster Mart in Falk, Arkansas, at 104 Highway 71 in Falk, Arkansas, and check out what they got. Good people in there, good memorabilia, some good exhibits. Our partner, William Lunsford, he has some exhibits in there you need to check out. And I believe you can get his book there too. And some great books are available there as well.
Excellent. All right. I think that about wraps it up for tonight.
All right. Sorry, guys, for being so long-winded. I apologize.
No.
Lot of stuff going on. So
yeah.
Thank you for your patience and hanging in there. So starting tomorrow, heading down south, and we're going to hit that field. So for myself, Daniel Becker in Anchorage, Alaska, for my partner, Matt Slater in Quincy, Washington, and our other partner, Paul Ayat, who couldn't be with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and a lot of great stuff to come, so stay tuned.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, and keep watch on the channel.